meters. Turn right onto N360, Marinduque Circumferential Road.
Hey guys, how are you? So I am now at White Beach in Poktoy in the town of Torrijos, which is actually well known here in the island of Marinduque to have, like, amazing white sandy beach. So it's like that. The only problem is it's cloudy today, but I don't think that's a problem at all, because I kind of like the fact that it's not super hot, because at least I won't get, super sunburned. And the reason why I decided to come here today is because I just wanted a change of scenery from, being at home most of the time. And it's also been, I think, over a decade that I have been here, and there's so much changes that I have seen. So at least there are eateries here now, and then there seems to be some, upscale hotels in the area, but the touristic footprint in this island is very low. I don't know how they manage to survive, but I'm glad to see that everything looks good. Okay, so there was a time when I used to come here that I used to hang out at the beach at the very end over there, but there's one big hotel there now, and I kind of don't like hanging there anymore because it feels like I'm staying in a place where I'm not supposed to be. So I'm moving over here to the other side, which seems to be good in my book. And also the mountain that you see here in front of us, let me flip my camera over, that mountain is actually Mount Marinduque, and that is actually described to be a potential stratovolcano. So Marinduque actually sits by the Pacific Ring of Fire, and this might be true because there are some places here wherein there are hot springs located. Okay, so I'm gonna keep quiet a little bit because somebody's playing loud music. I'm just gonna find a spot here in the beach, and then I'll take it from there. Hi everyone, good morning. So I have decided to extend my stay here in my home in the province for a week or even longer, maybe. It just depends on the situation. And the main reason why is because two of my dogs, Malena, my beagle, and my senior dog, Chio the Dachshund, needs to undergo a medical procedure this Saturday. This was unexpected, but I actually had to bring them to the vet last Monday because I noticed that Malena was kind of off. She wasn't eating properly. And then I also noticed that Chio was a bit odd, not himself, sleeping most of the time, things like that. And I've also said in a previous vlog that I've noticed that one of them would actually pee on my bed. And I initially thought that it was my senior dog, Chio, who was being incontinent, but I found out soon enough that it was actually Malena who was peeing in her sleep in the middle of the night. So that was like, what really prompted me to bring them to the vet. And I'm also so glad that, like, we found out what was wrong with them and what they needed to do while I was here. Although we actually do have someone to take care of them here when my partner and I are not here, but it, like, really hits different when it's a medical procedure, because, like, there's recovery that you have to think about, and then you also have to think about treatment. And, like, these are my fur babies, and I just really want to be here with them at this time to, like, really watch them and take care of them. So because of this, I actually had to deny some jobs, which is so sad and heartbreaking, but unfortunately the situation just, like, really called for it. So that's one of the most pressing things that's going to be happening in my household for the coming weekends. So anywho, on a lighter note, the reason why I'm here at the front of the garden right now is because there's actually a big boat here at the port in front of me right now. So let me just flip my camera over. So the port here hasn't seen so much action since, like, after the pandemic, because before there used to be, like, passenger boats would come in and out of this port, but unfortunately it has not resumed. But I'm so glad to see that it's being used today. So there's actually a barge here filled with sand. So there's a sand delivery for somewhere in the island. So maybe somebody is, like, building something like a road maybe, because this is such a big barge to, be bringing sand into the island. Look at that. And this boat actually arrived yesterday at around, I think, 3 in the morning, between 3 and 5 in the morning. So it really woke me up, because first and foremost, the lights were so bright. So when they, like, come into the port, the lights would usually flash through the house, and it woke up all of the dogs, and they all, like, started barking like crazy. And take note, I have 6 dogs in total here in my home. So I was just, like, really curious on what they're doing at the port right now. So I'm just so glad to see that there's just, like, so much action going on, and it kind of, like, creates a different kind of an atmosphere there, like, today. So as I showed you early in this vlog, I actually went to the white beach in Poktoy. And the reason why is because I just wanted to break off the monotony of being at home for weeks. Like, and just, like, breaking the cycle of just staying in the house and then going to the gym, grocery, house, gym, grocery. So it was actually a very nice break. And I've wanted to go there for quite some time, because I have not been there in, I think, a decade. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the last time I went there, my other dog was still alive. So I used to have a Lhasa Apso Shih Tzu mix. His name was Yoshi, and would frequently bring him there all the time. Now, I also failed to mention that it actually takes around an hour and 40 or like 50 minutes to drive from my house to the White Beach and back. So it was actually quite taxing at the end of the day, because I felt really, really tired. Like, I think it was just, like, the shock from my body of, like, holding the position, like, on the scooter for an extended period of time. I was actually very happy to, like, go there and to check it out. I was so surprised to see, like, the major changes in that part of the island. And like, it's so highly commercialized now, because if my memory serves me well, when we used to go there with my partner and with my dogs, it was very, like, quiet. There were just, like, cottages there. There weren't any establishments at all. There were no buildings whatsoever. So it was very quiet, and, like, it was very rustic, and it felt like I was, like, disconnected from the modern world. But I think these days modernity has catched up in that part of the island, so which is actually kind of good, because at least it gives people jobs, like, but I'm just hoping that the touristic footprint here in Marinduque would increase, and I am also hoping that they would return the flights back here, because I think that would really help, like, increase the touristic footprint. Yeah, so anyway, I'm blabbing. Yeah, so right now I'm gonna have some breakfast, and I'm gonna come back when there's something interesting going on, okay? Hello! So I just came from an errand. I went to the bank to do some stuff. And since I'm in town, I know that there's a newish cafe that opened here a while back, and I want to check it out before I head to the gym because I don't want to be hungry when I start working out. So let's go look for it, and it should be around the corner somewhere. Ching guys, okay, let's go. Okay, I love that cafe. I love that everything was in pink. Anything pink I like. It goes to my olive skin tone. And the coffee was amazing. I love the flavor of it. It wasn't acidic or sour at all, which I appreciate. But the fact that made me love the cafe is that it actually served croissant, and I'm a croissant person, and every time there's croissant, I always have them. And I had a pan au chocolat with my coffee order, and I have to say that chocolate was very generous in it. I love it. And I asked them earlier where they source their croissants and their pan au chocolat, and they said that they bake them themselves, so that's actually quite good. I'm so glad that these small cafes are popping up here, and I think that's because of the pandemic, and a lot of people who have left the island has come back and made their businesses here and made their lives here, which is actually great because it kind of elevates the local taste, and also it brings a certain modernity and how do you say it, a certain worldly flair into the small town here. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head to the gym, I'm gonna pump some iron, and then I'm gonna head home. So we're now back home from the vet. It's been an hour or so, and I actually did have to grab some lunch as soon as I got here because I was so hungry. I was at the vet at around 9:30, and I think it was around 11:30 a.m. when we were serviced. So there were a lot of people and a lot of animals that needed treatment when we got there, which is understandable because after all, it's a Saturday. So Chio is here and Malena is here. Both of them are okay, so I believe they're already on their way out of their anesthesia because they've already peed. Chio actually peed on me while we were on the tricycle, and Malena just peed a few minutes ago on one of the couches in the lanai, which is so frustrating because this means I have to wash another covering of sorts just to freshen it up. But anyway, that's okay. Yeah, so it was actually quite adventurous for the three of us this morning because we didn't have a car here, and the only mode of transportation that I could find is actually a tricycle. So for you guys who have never been to the Philippines, the tricycle is our version of a tuk-tuk. I've actually brought them on a tricycle before, and they actually enjoy the journey a little bit, especially when they're able to look out into the world. But the only thing that's stressful for them when you ride a tricycle is actually the sound that it emits because it hurts their ears. But they're okay. They're okay. So basing on what the vet said, there's really nothing that I have to worry about. So we just have to watch them, and then we also have to ensure that their food is soft for the time being. So that's the only thing that they'll adjust to. But I just hope that they'll actually feel better. I hope Malena will start eating, and I also hope that Chia will also start becoming more of himself. And what we need to do right now is that we just need to go back to the vet's office for the next 3 days because they need their antibiotic shots. And other than that, we're all clear. Okay? Yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna wrap up my vlog here because there's really nothing much to do for the next few days, but they can just take care of the dogs. And I'm scheduled to go back home at the end of next week, or maybe the first week of July, which is fine with me because my partner is also on his way here, so we'll be swapping places. I'm the one who's gonna be in the city taking care of settling into our new unit, and he will be here taking care of stuff here in our home in the province. Okay, all right, so that's it from me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. So if you have any more questions, please let me know down in the comments box. Let's have a conversation about it. All right, okay, so that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye.